blessing to them as well, please let us know. And also, if there's a subject matter that you'd like to hear more about that's going on in our communities, please contact us. Contact us at 770-256-8764. 770-256-8764. Again, we thank you, and please continue to pray for God's grace in motion. Hello. Once again, welcome to Grace in Motion Ministries. I'm Charles Womack, and I want to thank you all once again for allowing us into the privacy of your homes. We're also experiencing a very special encounter today in that we are encountering our #1 anniversary. This is our first year. After 24 shootings, we're still entering your homes, and you're allowing us to do so by turning in and tuning in. So again, we thank you so very much. We concentrate here at Grace in Motion on a number of concepts. But today, again, we are focusing on what is called the Christian hero. We believe that if we are in a warfare, which we are, then God has given us specific responsibilities, missions, callings, and in those callings, we are to carry them out, holding on to the torch of spirituality, trusting and believing. Of course, today we have with us two very special guests. We're going to be highlighting this one Pacific guest as we all work together as a team to do so. And that is only because of the dedication that he has given to the world and also to his community. He is a scientist. He has created some powerful concepts that are in place and are going to be in place. One called the powerful concept of microencapsulation. Don't worry about it yet because he will expound deeper on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go immediately to our beautiful Christian heroes of the day. First of all, I'd like to introduce to you none other than Dr. Robert Bayless. Dr. Bayless, how are you today, sir?
How do you do, sir?
I'm superb. And with us also, we have with us Dr. Linda Brown. Dr. Brown, how are you, and welcome.
Very blessed. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming in today. We want to now move forward with this interview and not waste any more time. It's going to be a good one, you all. Now, I'm going to start off, Dr. Bayless, with Dr. Brown because there must be an introduction. I could not do you justice. So we're going to let Dr. Brown do just that. Dr. Brown, if you could please share with the viewing audience a little history, background on Dr. Bayless, as well as some of the inventions that he has already put into place and are on their way to our communities.
Thank you. It is with great honor that I have an opportunity to present to you and the viewing audience, Dr. Robert Bayless. He is a man before his time. Dr. Bayless is originally from Ohio. He finished his undergrad degree from Central State, and he received his master's degree from Cincinnati, and then he went on and received his PhD from Wexford University, that's located in Zurich, Switzerland. And then he has traveled abroad, and he is a man who has over 45 different types of inventions, which of course today we do not have time to go into those. But we do have 2 or 3 that we are going to talk about today. Underlining 2 or 3 of those has to do with different types of formula that will save our earth, specifically our air and our water. And as you know, we as human beings cannot survive without those elements. And of course, we in a die cry as a nation and throughout the world for having cleaner air and to have water that has been purified as well as unpolluted water for our systems. Beyond that, Dr. Bayless has many patents that span the world, actually, Africa, as well as Canada, France, Germany, and also here in the United States. That having been said, we are talking about a man that has a lot of vision.
Yes.
He understands that his purpose is here, his plan is here, and he also realizes that it takes a lot of integrity, faith, and it takes a lot of time in order for the world to grasp and understand things that are new and innovative to us and that we are not ordinarily customized and introduced to. So with that having been said, I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here and to be a part of Dr. Bayless's organization,
Yes.
to also come and share to the world and our viewing audience some of the things that he has accomplished.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. And Dr. Brown, just want to ask you, I know you had put a number of concepts out that Dr. Bayless has already put into existence. Now, you all are actually working on one or two major products right now.
Yes.
If you can just quickly tell us what those products are, and then I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Bayless because I know everyone's waiting to hear that powerful voice and all of that wisdom. Would
Absolutely.
you please?
Over 35 years ago, believe it or not, Dr. Bayless invented a product made of natural ingredients, which
Yes.
means it's natural to nature, that will solve a multitude of problems having to do with air, having to do with water, having to do with odor, including being used in sewage plants, commercially speaking, as well as in our homes.
Yes.
It also has to do with fire prevention. It is an element that should be used in every patrol car, fire station thereof, because actually, and in the home.
Yes.
You know why? Because if a house catch on fire, you spray yourself down with this, you can actually walk out of a home and will prevent yourself from catching on fire.
Wow.
And then another product that he has produces, actually prevents, slows down, and stops rust.
Yes.
And then, of course, that has a lot to do with the application of it and how it is properly used and monitored. But that is his area of
Yes.
expertise.
Yes, yes.
And so, of course, I would love turning it over to Dr. Bayless and letting him expound on that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Bayless. It's showtime. Let's talk about something that I first learned about it maybe a week or two ago, and I realized you would be our next guest. And when I first read the concept, it was like I started to call Dr. Brown and tell her, Dr. Brown, too deep, can't handle. However, after I became more orientated, it became clear, but not as clear as you're going to help us to understand. In layman's terms, sir, if you could please break down, because I know the majority of your inventions are under the umbrella of what is called microencapsulation.
That is correct.
If you could please, sir, as simplistic as possible, share with our viewing audience exactly what that means.
All right, yes, I'd love to do that. Microencapsulation, by definition, is environmental protection,
Yes.
the way it's practiced. Microencapsulation is nature's way of making eggs.
Okay.
An apple or an orange are also capsules. They're just large. Micro meaning small. I manufacture eggs or apples or oranges in a laboratory in a small size.
Okay.
Sizes less than the diameter of a hair follicle. The applications for microencapsulation, for example, to save our environment is, I'll use an example, agricultural application. One of the problems we have in this country and around the world is the use of pesticides.
Yes, sir.
Pesticides are broadcast from airplanes and from all kinds of apparatuses, but only 15 to 20% of the material spread does the job to get rid of pests.
Okay.
The other 75, 80% goes into the ecosystem, into your waters, and we breathe it, we drink it, we consume it. Now we're talking about health problems.
Okay.
Microencapsulation, when practiced right, can reverse that total operation. We now can make pesticides 90% to 95% effective, targeted for the species.
Okay.
It's an example of what microencapsulation can do today. Additionally to that, I'd like to center on the use of a product we called Petrotech. Petrotech is a product that was designed for the use of, as Dr. Brown just said, fire prevention, air quality reduction or improvement, and water improvement.
Okay.
Before we go any further, I'll turn this back to you.
Okay, thank you. I know there's so much that I was like, okay, Doc, now I got some questions you're going to take. But it's all good because it's just so much and it's so powerful. Now, but what I want to ask you, Doctor, now we were talking the other day, and before we get to our laboratory presentation, we were talking, and in our conversation, you were sharing with me the fact that you can actually encapsulate water. You can actually encapsulate gas. In other words, you can turn this liquid into a
solid.
A solid. Now,
That is correct.
when I first heard that, like I talked with Dr. Brown, Dr. Brown said, well, have you ever heard of dry water?
Right.
I said to her, well, I heard of dry ice. She said, no, but that will liquefy itself too.
Exactly.
And she said, well, no, dry water. I said, now, Doc, is that a trick question? But actually, it's a reality. Now, we were talking, you say now, certain situations will be protected. If a house was on fire, how would it benefit us, the encapsulation of the product, if we were in, you say if we walked out, we would not be as burned.
That's right.
We would not catch on fire. Tell me more, please.
There is so much involved technically in that, but we know that the application of these products in a microcapsule form are stable to be there in case of a fire.
Yes, sir.
And when there's a fire, we reduce the kindling point in a fashion that substances cannot burn.
Right.
And the way we deliver those liquids that reduce the kindling point or the temperature at which something burns is through microencapsulation.
Okay.
Since they're micro, they can be included in the pores of wood, in the fabric, in the paints, and in any other substance matter that we want.
Okay, okay.
And the microencapsulation form allows us to deliver it in that form and stabilize it for time.
So are you saying that we can actually encapsulate gas and an airplane can fly on a powder substance instead of a liquid?
We can deliver it in a powder form. We can, rather than a liquid, and it'll be more efficient because there's no loss due to vapor.
Wow.
There's no loss of the fuel because it's volatile. It actually will burn in airplanes, but they prevent fires. They prevent the explosion, not the burning, but the explosion. So that makes a safety factor in the use of encapsulated fuels.
So I'm not going to use a specific technical concept or a sensitive concept, but let's just use one that is very similar. Say I'm out flying, although I can't fly. If I knew how to fly, I was flying and I had an accident and I hit the ground. If I'm utilizing this product, 9 out of 10 times that plane will not explode.
The plane, what kills people is not sometimes the accident, it's the explosion of the fuel.
Yes.
If the fuel cannot explode, all you have is a powder. You pick it up with a vacuum cleaner and put it in a vial. But you, as an individual, can survive without the flame, the heat, and the burning.
Wow. Doc, now let's do this. Let's go ahead and take our viewing audience from the studio to the laboratory.
To the laboratory.
Now, this is where you had an interview with Ozzie Davis approximately 10 years ago.
About 10
and you all are showing this particular experience right before our eyes.
Yes.
Let's wait no longer. At this time, let us go to the laboratory.
We discovered microencapsulation in the 50s. Carbonous paper is a result of microencapsulation. When you write on the paper, microcapsules of carbon are released onto the next copy and leave a dry impression. Doesn't smear. Robert Bayless has enhanced and patented this process of microencapsulation. It is a method of mixing two solutions that have opposite qualities, such as oil and water, and encapsulating the product with a protective shell. When oil is mixed with water, the oil forms an emulsion of tiny beads. A polymer, such as polyvinyl alcohol, is introduced into the water phase, surrounds the beads, and forms a protective wall. The walls are hardened through a chemical treatment to ensure stability. When the water is drained off and the beads are dried, a powdery residue is left, which is, in fact, micro-encapsulated beads of oil.
Of the many applications of microencapsulation, one can think of the agricultural industry, the industrial industry, pharmaceuticals, foods, flavors, medicines. I'm going to show you dry water. This indicator paper will turn blue if there's water present. Watch me crush it. Voila, blue paper, presence of water. I am placing on this piece of paper some microencapsulated inorganic dye. With that, in the second bottle, I'm placing a co-reactant, an acid. As I break these capsules, I generate ink. Microencapsulation is such a large area that I cannot perform or cover its capability in my short lifetime. This whole concept of microencapsulation is starting. It's in its infancy. And I think that, and hope and dream, that there will be some youngsters, high school, college, and graduates who will pursue this technology to its fullest extent in their own way, in their own time. One can hold a flame close to microencapsulated gasoline and not have it burn. I demonstrated one principle, that I have eliminated, if not reduced, the availability of vapor. Vapor around a volatile solution is the cause of explosions. So you see the technology goes on and on, all for the purpose of just bettering mankind.
Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal.
We discovered microencapsulation.
I tell you, this is such a phenomenal concept, and that I want to ask a very important question to you, Dr. Brown.
Okay.
With these innovative, powerful, world-changing concepts, why do you believe that there has not been the type of notoriety given to such a phenomenal presentation such as what we just seen?
There are a number of reasons. A lot of variables that you and I cannot control. Not even the massive people of America or the world can control.
Yes.
Because we have government agencies. And as you know, government agencies must approve various components as they are released for public usage, be it commercial usage or residential usage.
Okay.
But you also have to be able to get the ear of those agency decision makers to, number one, take a look at the research, number two, realize that, number one, this is a very useful product, or these are useful products, and that they are created by, such as by Dr. Bayless,
Yes.
for the usage of our nation, to make it a very safe, and put the step of prevention first.
Yes.
Rather than waiting until we arrive into a chaotic environment. And right now, we're in the middle of environmental chaos.
Sure.
Millions and billions of dollars are being spent on trying to clean the air or discover what it takes to do it. Why is it that we have not been open to so many people and they just want to come and ask Dr. Bayless, please share, show us, we're ready for this. I think it has a lot to do with political ties, possibly,
Okay.
but not necessarily.
Yes.
I think what we have to do is, number one, do things like what we're doing with you. Put it out there and make it knowledgeable to the world. That's where it starts. And I think that from these types of interventions, of getting this information to our general public, it will fall upon the ears of those who can make the decision. Now, we have been very blessed from the stance that EPA has approved Petrotech. It has been tested in New Hampshire, and it has been approved with their stamp. Of course, they can't market Petrotech for us because it's against their federal policies.
Okay.
But we have taken a lot of necessary steps to get the implementation out there. Now we're going into other different arenas to ask them to adopt this product and to move forward with it. I think that we as a nation, as a world, we are now moving forward because of the fact we understand the urgency for the need. And he has the solution to meet those needs.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Now, Dr. Bayless, let's, if you could share the concept, the product of Petrotech. How will that product influence our environmental condition based on how we see it today?
Well, the best way for me to explain that is that Petrotech was designed to do what nature does, except that it accelerates it. Nature will naturally eliminate dirty air. It will naturally eliminate waste. It will naturally eliminate odors. However, it's slow. Petrotech was designed to do what nature does, orders of magnitude faster. I wanted to read an excerpt here to give you an example of what it could do. The cost of dirty air. With medical care exceeding $1 trillion per year, even a rejection of only a few percentage points would save society tens of billions of dollars annually. Using Petrotech, we reduce it by a fraction of those costs. We can reduce the dirty air.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Okay.
It's set up for that purpose to do that.
Okay. Now, I was reading an article, Doc, on how you utilize Petrotech in a oil spill and the time frame in which it took other chemicals to clean up that particular oil or to clear that oil, and utilizing Petrotech. Could you share with us how Petrotech is able to penetrate and transform something that has been in existence for so long, cannot and has not?
Yes. The way I explain that is we know that nature decomposes oil, a kilo of oil, 2.2 pounds of oil, in 22 years completely. Petrotech, when used in the same kilo of oil, takes 22 days.
Okay.
That's the speed that we've accelerated the use of this product. It does not mean bugs. We let the natural bugs, which is nature, perform fast.
Okay. Now, what about, now, Petrotech attacks oils, but it also attacks odors.
Odors.
So what I like for you, one is liquid, one is air, but one product. How does this product attack two concepts at one time?
The way it works with the oil, it emulsifies and microencapsulates the oil, making it food for indigenous bacteria.
Okay.
For the air, it does identically the same. In the air, it will microencapsulate the air molecules, whether they're particulate or whether they're loose particles, and they render them totally inert. Indigenous bacteria converts it to fertilizer, CO2, and water. Basic products.
Wow, wow. Doc, we're going to take this to another level now, because we know we're going to learn more and more about these powerful inventions, because you will be back if it is your desire, because we would like to hear more. Thank you, sir. Now, Doctor, they say success is based not always on finances or even titles, but on change. My question is, how successful do you believe you have been based on the changes you have made, considering the obstacles that have been placed before you?
That's a very good question. I really believe that I've been extremely successful technologically. There are products in the marketplace that are being used today that I had the initial hand in performing, and I'm very proud of that. The future is wide open,
Yes.
and I think all of us are going to benefit from the implementation of many of these ideas.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Doctor, you've been working, excuse me, on these inventions for decades.
Yes.
And of course, we are getting to the point where your products are being brought forward. The question is, in whose hands do you believe your product will fall into if your name has not been officially stamped on these products and inventions at the end of reality that says time will run out? Whose hands do you think they will fall into, sir?
Well, they're going to fall into the hands of those people who have been working with me with the help of God.
Yes.
And will be implemented anyway.
Yes.
I have tried to specifically set it up so that people like Dr. Brown
Yes.
and others will take this over and continue to expand it and keep it moving forward. And I know that's going to happen because we have the blessings of our Lord and Savior to make sure it happens.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I really appreciate that, Dr. Bayless, because, and I'm going to tell you this, and our viewing audience, you know, oftentimes we say science don't go hand in hand with spirituality, but this is saying that it does. Dr. Bayless and I talked earlier, and that he says there is no way he could have gotten where he is or done the things that he has done without the power of his spiritual relationship with God. And I thank you for that because of the grace. Now, we're going to conclude this experience here with a quick 30-second presentation by one Dr. Brown, and I'm going to go ahead and back it up on Dr. Bayless so they can bless the entire community, because in my eyes, you all are Christian heroes, and you all are successful persons because of God's grace. Dr. Brown, in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, tell us exactly what does success mean to you?
Success is knowing your vision, having a plan, understanding your purpose to carry out that plan, keeping integrity as the underthreading mission for everything that you do, and making sure that God is providing the spiritual path for you to accomplish those goals, because all the work we do is in the favor of God.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And concluding with the man of the hour, Dr. Bayless, 10, 15 seconds, sir, same question.
There's not much I could add different than what Dr. Brown just said. And I urge all of us to understand that it's through God's grace that we have what we have. And we do it right, He will advance this to its highest level.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, my brothers and sisters, we thank you for allowing us into the privacies of your homes. We thank you for staying with us and praying for us as we enjoy this one-year anniversary here at Grace in Motion. We ask that you continue to keep us in your prayers as we continue to work diligently to give you what God has given us, because this is nothing more and nothing less than God's grace in motion. Again, thank you, and until next time, may God continue to bless. Dr. Bayless, sir, thank you so much
Thank you
for coming out. My beautiful sister, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.